Welcome everybody. Today we're going to make kimchi. In fact, we started making kimchi last night and we're just about ready to turn the cabbage into kimchi because it takes quite a bit of time for the cabbage to pickle. And we're making quite a bit. We have this almost entire container filled with 7 full Napa cabbages or Korean cabbages. So I'll show you how they look right now. Right now, they're starting to get soft. And what we can do, if you look here carefully, you can see that some of them are done because we can fold them. And if you can fold them in half like that, then they're done. See, watch this one here. Give it a little watch here. Oh no, see, I broke it. So that means it's not quite ready. It needs to be soaked so that they're soft enough so that they don't break. That's a really good trick to knowing whether or not the kimchi is ready to go. So it's not quite ready yet. We'll just let them soak for another 45 minutes or an hour. So kimchi takes a lot of steps. So it started yesterday when we cut all of our beichu, all of our cabbage, and we got it in our container. And then I'm going to show you how to do that. And then we've been chopping up the other vegetables, and we've been getting everything ready. And so we're going to show you step by step how to make kimchi. Okay, welcome to day 1 of making kimchi. So tonight's job won't take very long tonight, but kimchi is a 2-day job. And so in the evening of day 1, you just have to prep the beichu, the cabbage, the Korean cabbage. And so first thing to do is just cut off, if there's any, good just to cut this one a little bit, just to get rid of that bottom piece is never very nice. So let's just get rid of that. And then you're going to cut it in half. Now we're doing 7, but you don't have to do that many. So I'm going to cut it in half. And then you have to open it up. And let's just see if it's... Just do it nice and slow so you don't wreck it. And if you do it slow, it'll open properly. Yeah, there we go. Actually, it's very high quality cabbage. So we're quite lucky this time. It's been hard to get it, actually. We've been waiting for it to come in at a good price. And then you're going to cut it one more time so that it's in quarters. And once again, just take it apart slowly so you don't rip it too much. And there we go. Good. And that's 1/4. And then we'll just put these down here for now. And we'll do this one. There we go. All cut. So to make salt, well, I'm going to start with 3 cups of salt. The salt that I'm using here, you can see, is a very thick sea salt. And this is the best to use, is this thick sea salt. If you don't, I guess you could do something else, but this is really what's preferred. So you have to dissolve all the salt, and here's 3 cups of salt. You have to dissolve all the salt into the water. So what we're going to do is we're going to take them. I haven't washed them. If they're really dirty, you could give them a quick rinse, but we're going to wash them later. So the first thing you got to do is just give it a good soak in the salt. So this is the salt bath water here, and just give it a good soak. Make sure the water gets all the way into everything. This might seem like a big production, but remember we're doing 7 of them. Maybe you'll only do 1 or 2. And just take the water here. Now what you're going to do is, in the very thick parts of the kimchi, it won't pickle as much, as easily. So we're just going to take a little bit more salt and we're going to throw it in. So just so you know, I put 3 cups of salt in the water there, and there's another 3 cups here. So, and that's going to be about 6 cups of salt for 7. So the best way to think about it is 1 cup of salt for each kimchi you do. And once again, remember, we're going to be washing this at the end. And then I'm going to take it and I'm going to start stacking them into a big container. But again, if you're only doing 1 or 2, you don't need a container that size. So we got 28 of these, so I better pick up the pace here a little bit. I'm going to be at it for a while. 28 quarters because we're doing 7. Okay, almost done now. Down to my last 4. And every time we do it, you'll have different size of the cabbage, and you might have a little less or a little more salt, or a little less or a little more water. So how long this is going to soak for is not an exact amount of time. We're going to show you how to know when it's finished. So the time, we're almost done here. Now the time to soak them, it just depends. You can say about 5 or 6 hours. Actually, we're doing so many, we're going to leave them overnight. But if you're just doing 1 or 2, you should think about 5 or 6 hours. But there's no exact way to know exactly how long it's going to take, because it depends on how much salt you had, how much water you had, how many of these you're doing, how thick it is, how fresh it is. So there's so many factors that the time is going to change every time. So we'll just think, we're going to show you a little trick on knowing how they're done. So basically you just keep them. But if you're just doing 1 or 2, think 5 or 6 hours. If you're doing as many as us, we're just going to leave it overnight, and it should be pickled. The key is it has to be pickled enough. If it's not pickled enough, then your kimchi will fail. So what we're going to do is, there's still some salt left here, and we're not going to waste it. And I'm going to take all these, and the water here from here, I'm going to just carefully pour. Okay, so they're all in, and you see the water level is very low, but we're going to watch that water level will go up. Plus, we're going to turn them all over a couple of times. So, because we have so many, we're going to let that sit, and we'll see you tomorrow. So let me take you through the main ingredients. So I showed you the cabbage, which is in the brine now and pickling. So that's of course the main ingredient. And then to make it red, we have the gochugaru, the red pepper powder, and so that we use that to make it red. And it takes a fair amount of garlic. So we have our garlic we bought it from the store and cleaned it all up yesterday. So it's all ready to go. And then you need a kind of fish sauce. So we got this fish sauce for our kimchi. And then, depending if you're in Korea, maybe you'll put even more seafood things in. But here in Alberta, the good seafood's hard to come by. So we're just going to use the fish sauce. And you need something to sweeten it. And for us, we have a nice apple preserve that he made. So we're going to use that to make it sweet. And you have to put some radish in, some white radish. So we have a box of these, and here's one of them all cleaned up. Another important ingredient is this one. This is rice powder, 찹쌀가루, rice powder. And you need the rice powder to make a kind of glue. Everything's got to stick together. So when the red pepper powder and everything comes together, it's all blended and put together, it all has to stick. So it comes like a paste and sticks to the cabbage. So I'm going to show you how to make this rice powder into a glue. And then we have, here are our green onions and chives and all those, which we've taken from our own garden. So that's a lot. We have so many now in the garden because it's, we're well into spring. So we have so many in the garden, so we're going to use tons. But if you have to buy them from the store, maybe just use a few, right, for each cabbage. So what you're looking at here is the ingredients that we put together are enough certainly for the big 7 that we're going to do. And if you're only doing 1, you'll just need a lot less. And below on my video, we'll spell out the sort of the ingredients that you would need if you were just making one cabbage, 1 or 2 cabbages. Okay, one step we have to do is get a base for the kimchi. And so to do that, it's like almost like a soup base. It'll become like almost a paste. And that's really important because you would never get thick enough with just the spices, right? So we have a kind of a pasty base. And to do that, for every cabbage you buy, you probably need about 1.5 cups of water. And then you can put, if you want, this is optional, but you can put in, this is called tashima, seaweed kind of one. You can get at the Korean store. And then these are little anchovies, the milchi they call them, and you get those at the Korean store. Then we're just going to boil it. And what we're going to do is after it comes to, as it's getting hot, we're going to add rice powder. It turns out we didn't have enough rice powder. We're almost done our bag here. We didn't realize it when we went to the store the other day. So actually we've made, you can home make your rice powder. If you have raw rice, you can grind it up. And so we've made our own rice powder, and we'll combine it with the store-bought rice powder, and that's what we're going to use to make our paste. Okay, so this water's come to a full boil now, and we've let it simmer. And we could take out these ingredients. We could take out the tashima and the anchovies, the milchi. We can take these out. So I let it cool just a little bit here. The key is just gotta let it cool enough so that when you put it in, it doesn't clump. You know, like if you were putting in cornstarch, you've probably tried to put cornstarch into something before, and you notice that if you put it in too quickly or if it's too hot, it'll all clump up. You know that, right? So it's the same thing. Make sure that it doesn't clump, or it takes you, once it clumps, it takes you forever to get rid of those clumps, right? So put it in bit by bit like I did there. And just start stirring it, and then when you're certain that bit's stirred in, just stir in some more and more and more, and just keep doing that until until you've got it all mixed right in. Yeah, that's working out quite fine. Okay, you can see it's bubbling here, and so that means it's all done. Look, it's very pasty. So what we can do now is we'll just turn it off. We'll turn the heat off, and we'll cover it for 3 more minutes just to simmer just a little bit more. With no heat, and then we'll take the lid off and let it cool right down to room temperature. Okay, so I'm chopping up the radish here, and you got to get them at least this thin. So you can use your knife, and I've chopped all these up by my knife, but we need quite a bit of radish, and I neither have the patience or the desire to do that, so I'm going to use my food processor. So it should be about this thin. So that's about perfect right now for the radish, and so I'll just finish up the rest in the food processor. Okay, so keep working on the base. I'm going to have to chop up the ginger, and we're going to grind up our apple preserve. You can use fresh apples if you want. That's perfectly fine, but we have an apple preserve, so we're going to crush those up, and then we're going to crush up the garlic. For the garlic, at least 3/4 of a cup for each cabbage that you do. And the ginger, just some, maybe let's say about that much. That much ginger for each one. And so we're going to grind it all up now. Okay, so I got all my ingredients pulverized here, and I'm just going to cut the green onions just about 2 inches each one. Okay, so all the inside ingredients here. The last thing I'm going to do is put in the rest of my gochugaru, my red pepper powder. In total, you're going to put about a cup for every beichu, for every cabbage that you're doing. So I'm just going to add, I already added 3, and I'm just going to add about 4 more here. And then depending on how spicy you like it, if you like it even spicier than us, you could add more, or you could add less. And then the idea is just to mix it around and make it'll all turn. Now with everything in here, it's all going to turn a nice red color, and it'll be ready to be used to make the kimchi. So for tonight's dinner, once we get all the kimchi made, our reward is that we'll have made all the kimchi. We'll be able to eat fresh kimchi, and we've got some rice going on, and then in here I've got traditionally in Korea, many people have a pork, boiled pork with their kimchi when it's first made. But I've come up with my own my own dish, and it's a roasted pork that goes with it. So I'll have roasted pork and kimchi and rice. Okay, I think the cabbage is ready. We're just going to test one last time. I'm going to grab one here. And this is what's so important. You can over soak, no problem. That's not a problem. It's under soaking that's a problem. So let's just see if I bend it. Oh yeah, yeah. See, it bends really easily and nice. And so that's definitely done. So we're ready to go. So we're going to wash them all now. Just got to wash them all. Now, people wash them differently. But you'll notice our water is really clean. So because our water is really clean, then I'm going to run them. I don't have it that strong, but I'm going to just wash them in running water. And so because I'm washing them in running water, we can wash once, it's fine. You just basically are washing them a little bit and getting some of the salt off. And that's how we're going to do it. And then squeeze them tight. You want to get as much water as you can. You don't want too much water in your kimchi because there's lots of water in the ingredients. And then we'll set them aside and let them drain. And just got to do that 27 times. Okay, here it comes. It's when all the magic comes together. So we'll just take each one. Make sure to take more of the water out. Some people leave it actually for a very long time, but we don't. So we just make sure it's all squeezed. So we've washed it all up here, and now you have to do each leaf individually. So you take them, and you're going to spread them out, and then you're going to grab some ingredients. And you're just going to paste down the ingredients here, one by one. And I recommend using gloves because after a bit there's a lot of garlic, right? There's a lot of garlic and a lot of pepper, and they could start, and a lot of onion. And start to burn your fingers if you, unless you've been at this for years and years. You might burn your fingers so use some food grade gloves. And then what you want to do is take it and you're going to wrap it in half like this and use the outside leaves to sort of cover it like this, and then just try to make it as covered as best you can. And then you take this one once it's covered and we'll place it inside a kimchi container. And then we'll just keep repeating that for all of them. Okay, so I've done two. It would be a long time if I tried to do this all by myself and try to get through it. So we always do this as a family. So I'm going to call in the family, and we're going to start getting through this a little quicker. Usually we make kimchi about 4 times a year. And so when we do it, we call everybody in, and we start to make the kimchi. Okay, kimchi's all made, and we have a little bit of, we put a little bit of kimchi on our plate for our Kimchi Day reward, which we eat with our roast pork, which is going to be really delicious. And we've made 7 full cabbages, Korean cabbages today into kimchi. So enjoy.